Hi everyone. These are the notes in page 3 and 4 of that day 1, day 2 packet that's already in Google Classroom. So the previous video covered the first and second page. This covers the third and fourth page. And this will enable you to do the homework problems 13, 14, and 15, whereas the previous homework only went up to 12. So that's what I'm doing now. So just to, and also to get people caught up. Some people who took a while to finish their project and were behind because we have Memorial Day, and some people were obviously not there. So I'm just kind of like a makeup class, so to speak. So the standard equation of a circle, as I covered in my first video and in the first day 1 lesson, is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to r squared. Or don't please remember that HK was the center and R is the radius. Okay, so H comma K is the center. You put those numbers in here and here and write out the equation. So just this is for number 2 is kind of like a reminder, and then starting down here we're going to get into some slightly new stuff here. So the center in this case is -2, because remember the minus, it's x minus -2 gives you x plus 2. So therefore it's -2 comma 5, -2 comma 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's the center of the circle. And 9 is equal to the radius squared. So that means that the radius is equal to 3. So if you just count off 3 spaces, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, then you can make a circle that I can't draw very well. But I'll try anyway. That's not terrible for freehand, but a little loppy here. Alright, so that's the circle. The radius is 3, and the center, as I just said, is -2 comma 5. I should have put that down first. Sorry about that. I just kind of did it without looking at the space here. So remember, because the formula has minus and minus in it, if it's a plus, that means the coordinate is also a negative. So you get x minus -2, it becomes x plus 2. And since k is positive, it's y minus 5. Now over here, the center is going to be h comma k, and what's h comma k? It's going to be 7 comma 0. There is no number here of y minus 0 squared, so the y coordinate of the center is 0. And the radius is 1 squared, that equals radius squared, that equals 1. So therefore the radius is equal to 1. It's a really small circle, it's far away from the origin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the center is right there, and has a radius of 1. So it's here, 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 and here. Okay, that's our little circle right there. And that's a little quick reminder for those people who didn't see circles. If you don't get that, then look at the first video. It goes into more detail. All right, for those folks that were here, we're moving on. Sometimes we get we have to write equations for circles that are not in standard form. Okay, they're not lined up for us. They have some kind of alteration that we need to make, because right now it's not in the right form because of this 5 right here. So we have to sometimes we have to get rid of the constants in front, because we need to get it in this form: x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. Now if h and k are 0, then it's fine. You just have an x squared and a y squared. That's okay. But if we have a 5 in front or something like that, we have to one thing we can do is divide it out. Well, luckily 5 divides into every term, otherwise we couldn't do that. If 5 didn't go in here, 5 didn't go in here, we couldn't do that. Okay, so we have x squared plus y squared is equal to 16, and now we'll see, now we look back and we see, hey, it's in the right format, because we just have 0, 0, right? Because h and k is 0, 0, and we have, oh, that's r squared, by the way. Okay, so therefore we can do this, and the center is going to be 0, 0, and the radius is going to be 4, because h and k are 0. That's why there's no minus 0 squared. We don't need to write it. So that means our circle looks like this, with a radius. Remember, the radius, this is radius squared, so therefore r is equal to 4. So therefore we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we draw it the best we can. Made it loppy again. All right, but you get the general idea. Now moving on, so every situation is different, okay? Sometimes we have to do different things to the equation to make it look like it's in the right form. So in this case, this one already is in the right form, this one right here, but this one's not because I need to get this negative x squared over here, and then it might be in the right form. So if I add x squared to both sides and add x squared to both sides, then you'd say you have x squared plus y plus 3 squared is equal to 25. So now it's in the right format. So every equation is different. So you just have to know what is the form supposed to look at, and then you say, okay, how is what I have different, and what do I need to do in order to make it look that way? So there's not one change that works for every non-standard equation for a circle. So now this is in the right format. So my center is going to be 0, -3, and my radius is going to be 5. So 1, 2, 3, negative, okay, and my radius is 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so I'll just draw that out. Still can't draw to save my life. Okay, so there you go. That's the general idea. Now, we also have ones, so there's several different types of changes that we might have to make. And here's one, a little different. Let's see what we have to do here. Well, let me bring that down for you. So in this case, I got to bring that 8 over, and I got to bring this term over here. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. So now I'm going to write it as 2x minus 1. That's okay. Well, almost okay. Then you have plus 2 times y plus 6 squared is equal to 8. So I added 8 to both sides right here. Okay. And then I brought this term over. So when you do, oh, no, we're not done yet. Because of this 2 and because of this 2, I have to do something else. I have to divide out by 2, 2, and 2. Whatever I do to one term, I have to do to all terms. And then if I do that, then I'm going to be left with x minus 1 squared plus y plus 6 squared is equal to 4. And that is in the right format for the circle. So remember, go back to the original equation for a circle, like this one, and say, okay, yeah, that's the right format, right? So that's the format that we're looking for. So what do we need to do now? So we know the center is 1, comma, -6. The radius is going to be 2. Careful, it's not 4, it's 2, because this is radius squared, okay? So it's going to be something down here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Radius of 2. Radius of 2, radius of 2, radius of 2. It's going to look generally like that, okay? Now here we have to say, well, how do I need to do? Well, I got the x squared here, I got the y squared here. Now, this one's different. This is called completing the square. So this is a little tricky. You're only going to have like one problem to do, and a little challenging. But I want to expose you to it. So maybe you'll take some math course maybe next year in college, or whatever comes next for you. You might have problems like this. Trust me, I teach them. I teach some of my students in first year college in this, completing the square. So even if you don't get it now, maybe it'll help you get it later. So we notice that we have an x squared, and we have, I'm going to put that with the 6x, put that together. Then we have a y squared is equal to -5, because this goes together. Y, this is okay, this is in the right format, but this is not completed. So now you might notice that this is kind of worked backwards here. This is really x plus 3 squared. You know, you have to have the format of the equation. Why did I put 3? Because when we multiply out x plus 3 times x plus 3, we'll get x squared plus 6x plus 9. And we say, oh, that's the 6x. So in order to do this, I really had to add 9. That 9 was not there. So I really added a 9 to the left side, which means I have to add 9 to the right side. So I made a perfect square, because now x plus 3 squared is in the right format for a circle, and the y squared is already fine. And now I have 4 on the right side. So now I have in the right format. So this is tricky. This is called completing the square. And it means you have to go back. I'm not going to use the word FOIL, but it's double distributive property. It's when you do first, outer, inner, last. Okay, so basically, how do you know that? You take half of this term. Okay, take half. Half, square it, and add. Okay, to each side. That's the step. Okay, so take half of the middle term coefficient, square it and add it to both sides. That's what's happening. So what's happening here, you're going to get what's the center? Negative 3 comma 0 right there. Radius is 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, and 2. So you can have a circle of that order approximately. Okay, now we get down here, we have to find out what happens. This is called completing the square. So we put the x's together and the y's together. Now let's see what happens here. I would subtract the 6y. Subtract the 6y. Now see what you have. You have x squared plus y squared minus 6y equals 32. So we'll look at the format. Now this is okay. This is okay. This is not okay. We have to complete the square. So like I said, what's the middle term? Negative 6. Divide by 2. What do we get? Negative 3. Now what do? We square that and add that to both sides. So we're going to add a 9 to both sides. So if I add a 9 to both sides, did I do that right? Let's take a look. Hold on a second. Mistake here. I didn't combine the negative 6y and the 2y. That's my mistake there. So it's x squared plus y squared minus 4y equals 32. Okay, so the same thing I said was correct, except I had the wrong numbers. So negative 4, divide that by 2, and you get negative 2, and you square that, and you get 4. So you add 4 to both sides. So you add 4 to both sides. So that means you have x squared plus, now, what is this? How do you create this perfect square, as you might ask? Well, it's what you get when after you divide by 2. So after you divide by 2, you get negative 2, so it's going to be y minus 2 squared equals 36. And just to remind yourself, you get y minus 2 times y minus 2, and what are you going to get? Y squared minus 2y plus 4. And what is that? That's exactly y squared minus 4y plus 4. So that 4 is automatically here, and here you add the 4 also. So what do you have? You have x squared plus y minus 2 squared is equal to 36. So that means my center is 0, 2, 0, 2, so therefore my radius is 6. So 0, 2 is right there. My radius is 6. Go over 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or so. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 1, 2, 4, 6. So something like this. I hope I didn't miscount one, but you get the idea. That's our general circle right there. And I got one more to do here. And that's this one here. So I put the x squareds and the y, so I'm going to bring the negative 2y over. Bring the negative 2y over. So you have x squared. I'm going to put the 14x next to it because that goes together. Plus y squared minus 2y, put that together, equals negative 41. And then I have to, so what am I doing here? I don't have any x's and y's to combine, so I take half of 14, I'm going to get 7. I square 7, and that's going to be 49. So I'm going to add 49 to both sides, and it's going to be x plus 7 squared. And now half of negative 2, this was 14 divided by 2. This is negative 2 divided by 2, which is negative 1. I square that, and that's going to be 1. So I'm adding 1 to both sides. So it looks like I'm adding 50 to both sides. So therefore, this becomes y minus 1 squared. Okay? And now I have negative 41, and I added 50, right? So if I add 50 to the left, I have to add 50 to the right. So that means this is going to equal 9. So therefore, it's going to be x plus 7 squared plus y minus 1 squared is equal to 9, which means my center is negative 7, 1, and my radius is 3. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, so 7, 1, and my radius is 3, 1, 2, 3. So am I going to go off the chart? Let me see, it should be there actually. So it goes there, radius of 3, 1, 2, 3, 3, and 3. So my circle is going to look like that right there. Okay, so that's a little tricky because you have to go back to your algebra when you do distributive property backwards. So remember, whatever you take half of, like if you took half of negative 2 to get 1, that's what goes in here to create your perfect square. Now you took half of 14 to get 7, that's why 7 goes in here. Okay, now why does that work? Because when you multiply it out, it doubles to get you this term. Okay, that's why.